Hi everyone, I'm Joe Ciardi, Technical Advocate at Lenovo. Thank you for joining us. The AI PC conversation is everywhere nowadays. But what partners really want to know about is what's real, what's changing, and where they can offer value to their customers across the ecosystem. To help me discuss this today, I'm joined by Astrid, Director of Commercial Channel and Distribution at Lenovo Australia, and Andy Malakooti, Go-to-Market Lead for Microsoft ANZ. Welcome, Andy. Welcome, Astrid.
Thanks, Joe.
Thanks, Joe. So I'll pose the first question to you, Andy. AI as a subject has been around for many years, a long time. From my point of view, this feels a little bit different, the AI PCs topic, somewhat of an inflection point maybe. So from your perspective and Microsoft's perspective, what's changing here?
Yeah, great question, Joe. Look, AI has been around for a few years now. If you think about sort of when ChatGPT launched globally, it was sort of a bit over 3 years ago now. And, there's been a lot of talk about AI over those 3 years. The growth has been absolutely phenomenal. But realistically, if we think about sort of 2026, there is an inflection point because this is the year where customers will really be looking at outcomes. What are the outcomes that they can experience with AI as opposed to just talking about AI and the technology? And where we look at it from a Microsoft perspective is we see customers more and more wanting to deploy more AI and agentic AI throughout their organization. But there's a fear associated with that. There's a fear associated with can they do that in a secure, controlled way rather than just allow their users to adopt sort of any sort of AI or any sort of agents that they're wanting to do. That control for IT is really important. And so what we want to do in terms of the Microsoft and the Windows platform in particular is really drive confidence for our customers that they can deploy AI by providing a platform that supports secure, resilient, and controlled AI and agents throughout an organization.
Excellent. Makes perfect sense. I've been framing this as somewhat of a platform shift. Do you think that's too extreme, or is that fair to say?
No, absolutely. I mean, if we think about sort of Windows overall, we've always been at the forefront of driving sort of enterprise-grade platform for our customers. And now that we're going into this new AI era, it's about how do we evolve the Windows platform to become effectively the platform for AI, especially for our larger customers who require a higher level of security, resiliency, and also massively important IT control. So the IT can deploy agents and AI throughout an organization, but still maintain that level of control and security that they require.
Excellent. Astrid, your take.
I think from Lenovo's perspective, it's really about the user experience. So that looks like, how well does my device respond? How long does my battery life last? And how do I handle multitasking? I don't know about your day, but my day looks a lot like meetings and documents and, different kind of tasks that have to happen. And when you have AI integrated across that entire workflow, then you really need a device that can remove the friction in your day-to-day environment and workload. And for partners, from a partner perspective, you need to think about that when you're talking to your customers, right? Because it's not just about what the spec of this PC is or anything like that. It's about what does the productivity gain look like? What are the outcomes that we're trying to drive to? And what is the overall workflow look like from our user perspectives now?
I love that. You touched on something that I think is still, believe it or not, underappreciated. The user experience and the outcomes. These are real conversations that we can have with something like a humble PC and still largely not common in the conversations that I'm involved in. So I try to drive that as often as I can. And I think it's a really important point that our partners should take away from this. So Astrid, I'll stay with you for this next question. We've heard from Andy around why this is somewhat of a platform shift. I guess the question I'll put to you is, why Lenovo for Copilot Plus PC?
For Lenovo, we've built a brand around reliability. We're known, and I think ThinkPad is known as one of the most reliable devices in the market. And, that hasn't come easily for us. So, when I think about the next generation of ThinkPads, it's about inclusive design. We've got an incredibly diverse workforce with a lot of different accessibility needs that need to be considered when you're driving AI across all of those workloads and integrating that into your workflows. Our customers, our partners, our businesses, and our individuals within those organizations, they care about sustainability and circularity. That needs to look like devices that can last longer, needs to look like, devices that are easier to maintain and easier to fix if something does go wrong, and devices that have a lower overall, environmental impact is really important. As a Lenovo, we've been investing in AI research and development for a very long time. This isn't new to us. We're not just chucking an NPU into an existing, device. This is something purposely designed for the future of what work is. And if you're a partner, what that means is you can lead with confidence that the brand that backs you is the brand that is, the market leader in reliability for our customers.
So I'll put this next question to both of you. I suppose, hardware refresh aside, what would you say is the opportunity for partners over maybe the next 6 to 12 months? Where should their focus be? Maybe I'll go to you first, Andy.
Yeah, look, I think what we're finding in terms of speaking to customers and through our customer research, our work trend index, and so forth, is customers are looking to deploy more and more agents throughout their organization. But there's a fear with that. There's a fear associated with losing control, potentially being vulnerable to security attacks, and so forth. So I think the opportunity for us and our partners is really about how do we build confidence for our customers to be able to promote and deploy agentic AI and AI innovation throughout their organization in a secure, controlled, resilient way. And that's really what we're trying to do from our Windows platform perspective, is provide the tools for IT so that they can, with confidence, deploy AI services, both in terms of hybrid in the cloud and also on device, in a secure, confident way, in an enterprise-grade platform that's designed for them so that they can maintain control and resiliency and give the users what they need to provide those productivity.
Sure. So there would be a role for partners to play in that exercise as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think it's really about understanding what a customer is looking to do in terms of, deploying AI into their organization, and then thinking about, what are the devices and what are the services that can support that. And then ultimately providing a platform that, again, allows them to confidently deploy that securely.
Astrid, your thoughts?
Building on what Andy said, our customers are adopting at such speed and such scale. And at the same time, we're adopting it in our own workforce as well, right? So we're kind of like going through this with them. But if you have to sit there and be the consultant to the customer, if you have to sit there and help them understand the workflows and what's required from an infrastructure perspective or from a device perspective in order to really deliver the outcome and the productivity gains that they're looking for, then you need to know what's going on yourself. So there's a huge upskill that's needed across our industry and across our sellers particularly. So the education is the best way to start. And then I think as organizations, have a think about where you sit in the ecosystem and what the value and the services that you're going to be bringing to market look like. Are you, delivering devices as a service? Are you putting other kind of professional services around the solutions? Is it purely a consulting play for you? So understanding, what you're going to take to market and being really purposeful in helping your customers and being what they need from you is really important.
Yeah, I agree. Especially know your value proposition and be clear about that.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Astrid. So closing thoughts from both of you. Andy, any extra comments you want to share with us?
Look, the big thing from my perspective is, we want our partners to know that we are evolving Windows as a platform to become the canvas for AI, the platform for AI. We've always been an enterprise-grade secure platform for organizations around the world. And that continues to be the case as we're evolving into this new agentic AI era. We want customers to feel that they can deploy AI with confidence on the Windows platform because it's designed as an enterprise-grade, secure, resilient platform that allows IT to still maintain control as they deploy more and more AI services. And this is not only for Microsoft's first-party services like M365 Copilot, but also third-party agents as they're starting to deploy those through their organization to help drive more workflows, both from a cloud perspective and an on-device perspective with Copilot Plus PCs.
Makes perfect sense. A trusted, proven platform. Absolutely. Astrid, your final thoughts, and maybe if I can ask you, frame it as if a partner is watching this, what's the first thing they should do next?
I think it's all about education. So, on that skilling journey, we're not on this journey alone. So log into Lenovo Partner Hub. There's a plethora of resources on there, things like e-catalogs around solutions and devices that you can offer. We've got a Know Your Own Lenovo partner webinar series, and pretty soon coming to most cities around Australia, we'll have our Lenovo Lounge so you can get hand-on with the technology that we're talking about.
Okay. Thank you, Astrid. Thank you, Andy. And thank you, folks at home, for watching. As you've heard from us today, this really does mark a platform shift, one of the biggest that we've seen in years, maybe ever, in my humble opinion. And we feel the biggest opportunity sits with partners who can turn their capability into real outcomes for their customers. Astrid, Andy, thank you again for joining me, and thanks for watching.